Welcome to the Love You Bro podcast. I'm your host, Jude Devella, doing it as I always do every week with my baby brother, Jamie.
What it do?
What's up, brother?
Nothing. You sound like you're coming off the IL, about to go on the IL.
About to go on the IL, man. I've been kind of fighting through the allergy thing this weekend, losing my voice a little bit. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people in Kansas City that wish I didn't have a voice to speak and talk every week, but I'm gonna work through this. Drinking a little hot tea right now, so we're going to work through this. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to get to, a lot of exciting guests coming on here. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about our man throwing out some stuff on our social media today about our merch store that has dropped. It is loveyoubro.shop, loveyoubro.shop. You can go check it out. Hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, trucker hats, and t-shirts. So go check it out, man. Support us. Go on YouTube, go on IG, go on TikTok, go on X. Please go on there and click, like, and subscribe. We want to continue doing what we get to do every week, week in and week out. And Jamie, I got something that I want to start with tonight. We really haven't even talked about it off air, but I'm going to bring it up. Man, hang on a sec, guys. I'm going to take a little drink here.
Maybe take a shot of tequila.
That might do me some bourbon. Guys, we're going to touch on something tonight that's got a special place in my heart because I've seen a lot of it. I know you've seen a lot of it just through all the years of sports and stuff. But the wide receiver, the 2025 draft pick, Kyron Lacy from LSU, who was involved in some stuff this weekend. We don't know what the young man was going through, but I want to touch on it a little bit because we have a guest that we're going to bring on here in the next week or two who works with athletes, and they work a lot in the mental health issue and stuff with these kids. But you see an incident like Kyron Lacy going through a lot of stuff. We don't know what the young man was going through, but took his life, was in an altercation, I guess, with his girlfriend, and they said he drove off Houston. There was a police chase. During the chase, he pulled his gun out, and they said he shot himself during the chase. So 24-year-old young man, my heart goes out to the Lacy family. We don't know the Lacy family, but we've been around sports and athletics our whole lives. We have a lot of guys we've worked with. Jamie and I know a lot of guys, a handful of guys, Glenn Dorsey, Dwayne Bowe, a lot of guys we've worked with from LSU. And it's very hard to see these young men go through what they go through. But even when you were working with me back in the day, we've seen so much of what these young men go through. It's tough. And it's where does this mental health stuff, how much are the colleges addressing it? Where do you start addressing it? Do you start addressing it in high school? The way these athletes are getting tugged out nowadays, you see these AAU tournaments. I mean, you got college and pro scouts watching 8th and 9th graders. I mean, what kind of pressure does that put on a kid 13, 14 years old? You're starting to see kids 14, 15 now that are getting shoe deals. They're getting contracts. Now people are wanting to sign these high school football players freshman year because of the NIL deals. So now, how far does that go back when you start talking about mental health and being, Jamie, when you and I were 14, 15, man, we were trying to decide what we're going to wear, one wristband or two wristbands during our games.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with that young man, he was obviously going through a lot. There was charges being, I think the court system was going through it for he was in high speed, or he was at a, racing and killed a 7-year-old man and was going through some serious stuff, and essentially declared for the NFL in December, was going through a lot. So yeah, there's a lot that weighs on these kids, and there's a lot that they go through. Obviously we all go through, but they go through a lot, and it's under the microscope a lot more. So it is interesting, of how these schools and what kind of infrastructure they have for these kids. I think his father wrote a pretty touching piece on X, if you will, that said, hey, if someone says they're okay, they're not. Someone says, know the signs and look after stuff. But obviously that young man was going through an awful lot personally in his life.
A lot of stuff weighing on him.
Yeah, and, with charges hanging over his head, and it just, sometimes it seems more than you could handle, but that's the sad part. So prayers out to everyone. The gentleman that lost his life in that car accident, and to the Lacy family, and It's sad, man. It's a sad thing, and it just once again, there's guys, I forgot who it was recently that was that said how they'd go home after a game and sit there and you don't know what they're going through, man.
No.
There's a lot of guys. There was I forgot there was someone recently, and I should know this, that it was I think the kid from Boston. You guys look at that Duran, that he said he pulled a shotgun.
Jaron Duran.
Yeah, Jaron Duran, that pulled a shotgun and tried to, and it didn't go off. And this is a kid that's a high prospect playing for the Boston Red Sox, playing at Fenway Park, and it's just you think of that and like, oh, what's that guy have to worry about? Because he's he's not performing and producing at the rate that that people want him at, and so it's all over. It's basketball. It's it's a lot of stuff that they have. We all have pressure. And we all have stuff to produce and a lot of stuff going on in our personal life. But these kids are, it's sad because you look at them from afar and think, oh man, these guys have it made. They don't have to worry about shit. It's all on easy street. It's not, but it is. So it's a terribly sad situation.
Terribly sad. And I'm going to touch base a little bit. Here, 3-4 weeks ago, I went through a Catholic church retreat, which was a men's retreat. And how I'm kind of correlating this is, when you sit in this room with a group of men, there's 27 guys in there. And one of the neatest things for me over the weekend was you can go to church every Sunday and you can go through your normal routine, you go to mass, you go to your stuff, but you can have 27 guys scattered throughout the church and you don't know what their journey is.
Yeah.
You don't know how they got where they got to, and everybody's story is different, but we're all there for the same reason. But I don't know, we're brothers, we know each other's story, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're sitting next to a guy, you don't know how he got here or what brought him there.
Yeah.
So with these athletes, you can go in a room with 53 guys and you don't know their stories. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's journey is different. How they got there, how they were recruited. Did they come from a single parent family? Were they raised by their mom? Were they raised by their dad? Were they raised by their grandparent? And I just think there's so much stress nowadays with not just the normal stuff, bro, that we grew up with, but the social media.
Yeah.
Everything on social media. These guys can't walk into a party without someone being like, oh, we saw, John Smith, and he was seen with this girl who he's supposedly engaged to, and he was talking to a brunette at this bar. Well, that brunette might have been his cousin. You just don't know. And it's just like, I think the social media game, it just really makes it so much harder for these athletes these days. And I just see something like that over the weekend, and it just breaks your heart. And I think one of the coolest things was seeing guys that we've had on the show. I saw Charles O'Menahue on X, and he put up a really cool post of just like, hey, I don't care what sport you play in. I don't care what college, NBA, NFL, MLB team that you play on. If you're ever hurting, you're ever going through something, man, drop something in my DM. Here's my phone number. Call me, reach out, I'll talk to you. And that's just real, man. That's just real stuff. And it wasn't just Charles. I saw multiple athletes and multiple guys at LSU. But it's just really, really difficult to see these young men and the pressure that goes on to them to make something like this take place. But again, we just want to say our prayers for the LSU football family, for the Lacey family. May the Lord wrap his arms around you guys during this difficult time, because it's a terrible thing to see. For sure. So to change it up and go to a positive thing, there's a lot to get at. NBA playoffs. So play-in start tomorrow night. Is that right, boys?
Tomorrow night.
And who do we have tomorrow night?
We got Atlanta and Orlando, and we have Memphis and Golden State.
Golden State will be fun. And I know Golden State's kicking themselves for falling out of, I think they were locked into 6, and they had to they lost a couple, I think 2 or 3 to put them in the position to do that. But this is when the NBA, even if you're the most casual fan, and I have a lot of people. Yeah,
I'm just being honest. I'm a casual NBA fan, but as my brother knows, playoffs. Now I'll dive in.
It's locked in.
I watch enough, but now I'll dive in.
It's when they lock in and just there's a lot of people that turn on their TV, and it's just it's funny because the NBA is as good as it's ever been, and people talk about like, oh, they don't do this, they don't do that, and it's just it's not ignorance, it's just they don't care to watch it, and so they don't care to watch it, but they get to watch in the playoffs, and you see these guys that obviously Ant-Man, who my Lakers get. Is that right, Theo?
Yeah.
Saturday night, 7:30.
Saturday, 7:30.
You got to put a little
on
side
ABC.
wager on that, Theo. So just big time matchup, and obviously Luka, and that was awesome last week in Dallas to see Luka. Just first of all, it was incredibly emotional tribute, and you see a guy get. I mean, he in the moment, man, in the moment, and then it's just very few people to me on the planet could go through something like this, which he never saw coming. Obviously, they had a lot of bullshit back, behind the scenes, but never saw it coming to be like, hey. You're not, it took a while to adjust, for everyone to adjust. I mean, there was people when it happened, like we discussed earlier, they're like, bullshit, this didn't happen. But he's crying, man. And he comes out and locks in and hangs up 46, I believe. 46, and could have actually gone for more. And people are like, it wasn't to stick it, and this is who Luke is. It wasn't to stick it to the Mavs front office. It was more to put on a show for the fans. Of course. For his fans. And they went out there and they were chanting Luka and balled out, and it's just but it was awesome, man. And being a Laker guy, it's like I'm so pumped for the playoffs. I'm so pumped to see what we can do. When it first happened, people were like, oh, it's going to be a move. It's going to be a move for next year or the following year when they do this. But right now, I mean, to me, and once again, kind of, it's like I'm obviously biased, but I'm like, I think they can win it this year. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So, the West is loaded.
Okay, so let me go back. I'm going to stop you there just for a second because I know you've got a lot of great NBA points. I know how much basketball you watch. But when you talk about fans and the average fans, I'm going to ask you guys, you watch a lot of ball, Theo. I mean, is it just me or does the NBA tighten up a little bit during the playoff time? Do I see guys play more defense in the playoffs?
Yes.
I mean, I think so. But also, if you were to ask a NBA guy, so do they take maybe a up and down the court off a night? Absolutely. Do NFL's the highest end defensive tackles that make $100 million? Do they take plays off? 100%. So, and we don't have to name names, but there's guys that take plays off left and right.
I'm not talking plays. I'm talking a whole NBA season. You can't tell me they play the same defense all season long they do in the playoffs. I don't buy it. No, and that's just my opinion.
I mean, but there's certain guys who make all defensive team year in and year out would look at you and say GTFO because they lock in every night.
And you know what? Yeah. You're right. You just said it. You just hit the nail on the head. You just said certain guys. Yeah. Certain guys do that. But
once again, you're talking about an 82 game season. So I don't think
But I'm not talking about you're talking about the NFL about a guy taking plays off. Okay, everybody knows that happens.
Guys take games off. When you see guys disappear in playoff games and Super Bowl games, you see guys disappear. So I mean, yes, it does. That's an easy answer. It does.
I'm just asking because I'm not a big NBA guy. I watch it all year long.
It definitely does.
But I feel like during the playoffs, I feel like things tighten up defensively. You start seeing teams more when it's coming down to, okay, we're down by 6 or 8. There's 3 or 4 minutes. Everybody's locked in on the floor, and you don't see that all year long.
But also, it's like anything else. You can say that, but there's certain guys that just don't have that defensive mentality, and their inabilities don't allow them to. There's certain guys, and I am a big Austin Reeves. I think is one of the best stories. He's an undrafted guy out of Oklahoma. That Reeves. When he locks in, he's an okay defender, but he's not going to stay in front of SGA. He's not going to stay in front of Ant-Man. No matter how locked in mentally he is and how close the game is, he doesn't have that mindset.
I get that. I understand.
So I don't know what your point is. Your point.
But what do you mean? What my point is? It's said all the time. People talk about it all the time about people that don't watch it during the season, but they watch it during the playoffs because they just feel like it's better. It's better during the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but so once again, I think I don't know a sport that doesn't get a little bit more intense, a little bit more. So my example is I like the NHL a lot as well. NHL, they play hard every single night. They do not take shifts off. They do not take shifts. But even the intensity in the Stanley Cup playoffs goes up even more. When you don't think it's possible, it's a Tuesday night in January, and you're watching a game, and these guys are going after each other. I mean, and they get teeth knocked out, they get their heads opened up, and they miss 2 or 3 shifts.
But that is definitely one thing you hear from hockey people. They do not take a night off. They do not take a playoff. Those fucking dudes get after it
and I think the thing for me in the NBA and being an NBA guy, I think the load management is kind of bullshit, and I think that is. But also,
so tell me a little bit more. I'm not Tell me more about load management and what that is in the NBA.
So I think that if you have an investment and these guys pay as much money as they do, I don't need you to go. It doesn't matter to me if you need to take a night off in January. Take 2 nights off. Take 2 nights to rest your knee, rest your knee, whatever, because you've invested so much money in this person.
Right. I get it.
So, I mean, and it's the NBA, and I think they've got to step in maybe, because sometimes these fans pay a lot of dollars to go see and take their kid to go see John Morant, to go see SGA, to go see Luka. And the night off that you took your kid to and spent a lot of money to, that kind of sucks. But it's also that sucks for the fan. But you're trying to protect the organization and not be in a position towards the end of the year that you're fucked or you're hurting. It's just case in a point. I heard on the way in, they had Cole Raggins on and last night he was humming. He just got through 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7. Our bullpen's been shaky as of late, and he said he noticed him getting some tightness in his leg, like some tightness, and he was like, I told them in the 6th, and he goes in a little bit more in the 7th, and he goes, I'm not trying to get hurt right now. My team needs me. He goes, could I have stayed out there for my stats? I'd not given up a walk. I'd struck out 10. He goes, absolutely. But right now is not what matters. It's later in the year.
Doesn't matter.
And I don't want to get hurt.
Right.
So he goes, I just told him, he goes, when I made that pitch and I knew it, he goes, I'm not going to miss any time. He goes, I just looked at him like I'm done. But I was rolling. But it's like, I don't need to. We're not winning anything in April.
Right.
So
it's just, I get that. I get that.
I think like I said, the NBA, the load management, and it's, they do take off as far as like, they're not, the NBA guys, they're not like old school NBA, like back in the Bad Boys, the Bad Boys of Detroit.
You saw the reel that I sent you the other day when Vanessa Bryant was talking about, it was at the funeral, and she was talking about Kobe. And she talked about how many times Kobe played hurt, how many times he was injured, broken finger, shoulder, knee, whatever. And she would say, why don't you take a night off? And he said, because I remember growing up, there's that dad or that mom that saved that extra money to take that 7 to 8-year-old kid that's coming to see me play tonight. And I'm doing him a disservice if they go and spend that money, all their hard-earned money, and I go take a night off.
That's Mamba mentality, though. That's why he's one. I mean, to me, that's my favorite player of all time. It's he just had he was different.
God, he was different, bro. He was so much fun, and he's still. When people talk about who would you have with the ball in your hands at the end of the game, there is nobody. And I don't know who I would put 1, who I would put 2, Theo. But it's got to be Jordan and Kobe. Because every time Jordan had the ball,
Kobe.
You think Kobe?
Kobe.
What do you think, Quinn?
See, you guys might have been too young. You guys might have been too young.
They know film,
but
this ain't Bob Cousy, dog.
But you guys go back and look at Jordan stuff. There was times Jordan would come out of a timeout and he'd look at a defender and be like, the ball's coming to me and there's nothing you can do about it. And go take that last shot and score. So it's hard for me to. But to me, Kobe and Jordan right there, there's nobody else in the league I would rather have. Those 2 dudes, nobody else.
Yeah.
They're on a similar level for sure, but I think I'd lean Jordan.
Well, see, there we go. That's what it's all about.
And I think one guy going Jordan, one guy going Kobe. I don't think nobody's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
no.
There's no wrong
Both of those guys.
Is there anybody else you would take besides those 2?
No, not even a chance. There was a great story I was listening to the other night. And once again, because the NBA, it's all playoff related. But when MJ came back, and so game 1, when he comes back, they're playing Orlando, and he gets the ball knocked out of his hands by Nick Anderson. Game over. And Nick Anderson yells back, and that was when MJ was wearing 45.
Yeah.
So he yells back, that ain't 23, MJ. And so Horace, who was playing with Orlando right now, he goes, I didn't even know he said that shit. He goes, I didn't even know he went there like that. And he goes, so the next game, it's game 2. He goes, they're in warm-ups. So he goes, MJ got his shit on, and he keeps his warm-up top on.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got his shorts on, warm-up top. And he goes, he's like, they're in warm-ups. He goes, they named the starting lineups. And they're like, in 45, number 45, Michael Jordan. He goes, they go and break down. And he goes, he unzips that shit and it's 23, and we said, "Oh fuck, we in trouble." And then he went MJ. He went MJ. But it's just a great story. But yeah, Kobe and but you know what? They wanted it. They never shied away from it.
No,
they never.
no.
I
I have another Jordan story that I have not sent you the reel yet. You guys, I'm gonna send you the reel after this. It was during the Olympics, and Barkley's telling the story, and Barkley's like, I can't remember who he was talking to. He was telling somebody else. He goes, man. He says that fucking Jordan's crazy. He said, what happened? He said it was David Robinson. No, anyway, Barkley and Jordan and Chuck Daly and a couple players went out to play golf. They played 18 holes. Jordan said he was going to play another 18. And he said that early evening, we were playing Spain in a game. And he said, so Jordan plays 36 holes, goes, puts the stuff on, comes out, they get on the floor, and Daly's telling them who they're guarding. And so he goes, you're on, you got, Jordan, you got the 2 guard. He says, nah, he says, I got the point. And Daly says, no, he says, I got you on 2. He said, coach, I got the point. And Barkley said, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? He said, man, that guy in Spain, he's been talking shit on me. He said, man, first play of the game, he goes, Jordan D'd up like it was game 7. Took the ball from him, went down and dunked, came running by him, said, don't ever put my name in your mouth again. Don't ever use my name in your mouth again. And Barkley's like, he's different, man. Jordan was those guys,
dude. Yeah,
Jordan
those
was that
guys,
guy.
those guys like that. Those guys were different, man. And like I said, it just they're, but they're obviously that's why they're 2 of the all-time greats. And you can go back and forth with who's 1, who's 2, who's 3. And there's guys that could be in that argument. But those guys, you just hear so many stories about their work ethic and what the game meant to them. And so, but right now the NBA is in really, really good hands. And you got guys, Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
He's a dog.
That is, I mean, you're talking about guys who are Ja Morant. If Ja could get out of his own way, it's funny because all these guys are like, that's not you. That's not you. Like, if you see pictures of him when he's young, he went to like a country day or a Pembroke Hill here. Right. And he was like a polo wearing, khaki wearing kid. It wasn't like he was a kid that didn't know where his next meal was going to come from. Didn't know, he was not. And they're like, I was looking over at Theo and he was doing that shotgun thing. Remember, I made you watch a Laker game with me the other night, and they were playing beforehand. You're like, "What is he doing, man?" And he did it twice.
I can't believe he does that stuff, man.
I mean, he did it twice, and he's straight up like, I mean, he's just.
Dog,
but no, he's not. That's not.
He
his
doesn't
good
do
work.
guns anymore. Now he throws grenades.
Yeah, now he throws grenades.
Yeah,
now he lobs
into the
grenades.
crowd.
But he is so nasty. He is so good,
For
man.
sure,
It is like,
absolutely.
it is. I mean, like I said, the NBA is in such good hands. It's so good right now. You can look at, where the Houston Rockets are, and the Thompson twins. The Thompson twins are problems. I mean, they're really good. Detroit's really good. They're going to be really good. I mean, these younger teams now that are on the 8-9 seed and or still in the lottery system, that it's only getting better.
Right.
It's only getting better. The talent's younger and the talent's better. And then you get obviously the European influence into it. Like San Antonio is going to be awesome. They're going to be lining up to play for Wembley, excuse me.
Right.
Play with Wembley. But you guys got like Chet Holmgren and OKC, which is, I mean, he's fun to watch. I mean, the Rockets are fun to watch, man.
Theo, what do you think your T-Wolves are going to do, man?
They get beat in 6 by the Lake Show.
I wish we would not have gotten Luka and LeBron and the Lakers. Luka kills us. LeBron's LeBron.
Saturday night, 7:30 ABC.
Lakers?
Yeah. I truly think we could beat anybody in the West. There's 2 teams that I was scared about. Lakers were one of them.
Yeah.
Just because Luka and last year just ripped our hearts out.
Torched.
And then LeBron James. So that one's always scary.
Playoff time, LeBron. Yep.
I mean, how awesome that is, though. I mean, when I was asking you earlier, I'm like, when is that? And it's like, is it ABC? And it's like, they want everyone. But I mean, if you're an NBA fan, if you're outside of NBA and you don't really watch much like Ant-Man is a straight up dog, a straight up dog.
He's not scared of anyone. So
no, he's not scared. And
Ant we trust.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I think it's going to be a great series. But good for the NBA is that Saturday night, man. When you're either weather's nice, you're either on the grill. That's a game. If you're, it'll be interesting to see the draws it gets, because the Golden State and the Lakers got on that Thursday night game was huge. It was one of the biggest draws. So people are watching and people will tune in. But if you're a casual fan, like, oh shit, Luka against Ant-Man, I'm watching that. I gotta watch it.
It's a rematch versus the Western Conference Finals from last year.
Absolutely. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see how that. I mean,
Right.
Just in general to see, because the West is going to be a war. West is going to be a battle, and then the East is kind of a two. Like I think
Celtics and who?
Cavs.
Celtics, Cavs.
Yeah. And I think the Cavs get over this year myself. I think the Cavs are younger, got fresher
They're
legs.
so deep.
Yeah, I mean they come at you in waves, and Spider. I mean Donovan Mitchell's a guy. I mean he is a guy,
Yeah.
and the dude I like is and he put an ass whipping on us boys was Mobley.
Evan Mobley.
Yes.
Yeah, he
when
killed
he was
KU
at USC,
in the
they
tournament.
blew our doors
Yeah.
off of the tournament. It was him
And his brother.
Yeah.
At USC killed us.
Absolutely killed us.
How about my dude from Kansas City, Alec Burks with the Heat? Did the Heat make the playoffs?
So, Burks had a good.
He finished the year strong, didn't he?
Yeah, he finished it really strong. Absolutely. That was a guy that came on. But he's been a solid NBA. He's obviously a local kid, but
How many years has Alec Burks been in the league, Theo?
Look it up.
I'd say.
And by the way, the Heat are in the play-in, so they'll play Friday night, and the winner of their game will play the winner or loser of
Who's the Heat at Friday?
Bulls.
Has the Bulls Friday?
Yep.
Where at?
That will be in Chicago.
In
Oh,
Chicago?
you thinking about pulling up?
I don't know. Maybe.
That might be the move.
Maybe, man.
Alec Burke was drafted in
Once I get to this voice
2011.
thing, I get some cough drops from Dylan, my man over there, trying to make me feel better, man.
Alec Burks was drafted in 2011. So he's been in the league for about 14 years.
Yeah,
now.
I was going to say it had to be 12, 13 league. And Alec Burks is a kid who came out of Grandview, Theo. Came out of Grandview. His sophomore year, he was 6'2". He was going to camps and doing all this stuff. Really wanted to play for Kansas, from what I understand from his parents. And then Coach Self, none of the coaches around, Mizzou, KU, K-State, nobody gave him any love. And between his junior and senior year, he blew up in the AAU circuit and went from 6'2" to 6'7". And at that time, Self and those guys tried to jump in, and it was too late because he said, Colorado's been here since day one. So he went to Colorado, and then, he's had a great – he's been a six man, a guy off the bench. How many years has he been? 13, 14 years?
He was drafted in 2011.
God, 14 years in the NBA. That's
absolutely.
a career, man.
I mean,
Alec Burks has done well, made a lot of money in the league. Hey, we're gonna take a break, and then we come back. I know that we got more stuff to dive into, but I want to get into a little bit of talk about the Final Four, which we need to touch base about Florida winning the national title. But I want to talk a little Cooper Flag and a little bit of Duke, because I don't know. I think their choke job was pretty good last week.
Yeah, it was a great Final Four. It was what everyone
Great Final
wanted.
Four. So let's take a break, brother. Then we'll get back and we'll talk about the Final Four and some other stuff. Thanks. Guys, we'd like to thank our resident sponsor, Proactive Solutions. They've been with us from day one. They allow us, Love You Bro podcast, to get to do what we do each and every week, and that's bring you a new episode with new guests. So a big shout out to Dean and Natalie Thede at Proactive Solutions. Proactive Solutions has been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for more than 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City locally owned and a top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. So thank you to Proactive Solutions, Dean and Natalie. If you guys are interested and your company needs some IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. We have two great resident sponsors that really help us here at Love You Bro Podcast and allow us to do what we get to do week in and week out. Lula's Southern Cookhouse, Bradley and Brittany Gilmore, owners of Lula's. It's at 1617 Main Street. If you have not been down here, please come down on a Sunday and have brunch. Great wait staff, great bartenders. The ownership team with Bradley and Brittany Gilmore are just fantastic people, and they allow us to do what we get to do in this amazing event space at Lula's Southern Cookhouse.
Touch base. We'll get to the Final Four, but I was thinking about this during the break. A couple more, NBA playoffs, but just Kobe stories. And so there's a great one with a kid from Arizona. Theo, if you guys could look him up, and Quinn played at Arizona, white kid, but he was playing for the Rockets. right?
Good.
He was playing for the Rockets. And I sent you this quip about a year ago, but it always sticks out to me.
Good.
He was playing for the Rockets back when Kobe was. So Kevin McHale was the coach then. And so McHale told him, or he made a play at Florida, boys.
Chandler Parsons.
There you go. 100%.
That's work, Theo.
Yeah. So McHale's like, you're going to be, guarding, and Kobe's like, do not start talking to him. Let him get in your shit. McHale's telling him this about Kobe. So he's like, he goes, there's a shooting foul. And he goes sitting there. And Kobe's like, what you doing for dinner tonight? And he goes, I didn't say nothing. He goes, I just kept looking there. And he's like, man, what are you doing for dinner tonight? And he was like, I don't know. Probably have it, going out, whatever. He's like, because I remember what Coach McHale was saying about it. So he goes, after the game, he's like going through the line or whatever. And he's like, he embraces me. He's like, man, I got you. He's like, I got you at this place, one of the best steakhouses in LA. I got you. And he was like, man, he's like going through the line. And so he's like, after the game, he gets a text. And it's like, it's from Kobe. And he's like, hey, man, it's Mamba. I got you tonight. Take the fellas through. So he's like, man, is this real? Someone fucking bullshit, like someone pranking me. So they end up going to this, like I said, one of the nicest steakhouses in LA. So he said, when it's done with, he goes, they bring him the bill and they're like, Kobe's got this. And he was like, what? He's like, so that's how just cool and dope Kobe was. But he was like, man, he's bullshitting me. He's trying to get in my head right now by asking where I'm at dinner. By asking where I'm gonna have dinner.
Kobe picked the tab
up
up?
the whole tab up. Yes.
Kobe picked the tab
yes. And just another one, man, that just is of the greats of the NBA playoffs, man. So like I said, we touch base on that. It'll be fun, man. I know you'll be watching. I'll be dialed in. Theo, Quinn, you guys will be dialed in, so it'll be fun. And speaking of, we'll shoot for Jackson Hayes. We know,
man.
When it all settled down, maybe in the offseason.
Down after the season's up, we'll try to reach out.
He's having a quietly, since Lucas got there, all his numbers went up. Pick and roll, rim runner. So maybe we try to get Jackson on. But
yeah, we'll try to reach out to his. We know some people over there. His dad, Jonathan Hayes, played
long-time chief, man. Long-time chief.
Great dude, man. Jonathan's a great dude. So we'll get with him and try to see if we can't get Jackson to come on here. But Theo, man, I want your and Jamie's take. So last week, Final Four, we're in here shooting our episode. Florida, Houston National Championship. But we didn't talk a lot about Duke and how they kind of faltered on Saturday. I felt like, and Jamie kind of felt like, I know you said it before, the week going into the Final Four, it was kind of Duke's to lose.
Oh, I said it I said it from the start of the tournament. I go, nobody's beating Duke.
Right. That's kind of what you said. And they had Cooper Flag, they had all the guys. And the reason I have a good friend of mine, he's a huge Duke fan. And we've gotten into it the last couple of weeks and haven't talked to him since last Saturday. So, but during the season, he was one that kind of always jumped on and talked when people would post stuff about KU losing. He was like, why does Bill Self always get a pass? Why does he always get a pass? Now, my deal is I start doing some research, Theo, and looking up. I mean, you look at who's got the most McDonald's All-Americans, the most All-Americans, the most NBA guys, it's Kentucky and Duke. Kentucky's last championship was in 2012, and Duke's was in 2015.
Yeah.
So how are you going to talk about Bill Self getting a pass when I'm looking at a Kentucky program that's got 40 guys in the NBA, a Duke program that's got 37 guys in the NBA, and a Kansas team that has 14 in the NBA,
yeah.
Or program. And I'm just and that's kind of where the stuff started. But I thought that Duke team, I didn't see how anybody was going to beat them with their length, with Cooper Flag, the other guard they had. What was the other kid? Knepton. What was his name? The other guard? Knipple. That kid could just flat out shoot the ball, man.
Yeah.
Flat out shoot the ball. And then they had the big kid in the middle. Was he from Nigeria or is he from? He was a dominant dude, but they were big, they were long, they had depth. And man, against Houston, man, they choked down the stretch big time.
Yeah, they did. And it was but it was a great tournament and exactly what you wanted to see. And it's just, coaching wise, that's why coaching comes into play. Because they start fouling, putting a little bit more pressure on them, start missing free throws. And once again, when you go back and if you're a Duke fan, and you watch that, it's a pretty good look. The best player in college basketball who will probably be rookie of the year next year, and it hits the front off the rim. That's how close you were to winning that game.
Of course.
Like that's how close you were to winning that
100%.
game. So it was, but I thought the Final Four was awesome. And we talked about this, moving forward, that's what you'll start seeing for more. You'll start seeing chalk and more, because before then it was since KU was in where they had all 4 1 seeds. That's what you'll see a lot more of. I think
with them getting the kids out of the portal.
Yes, and kids out of the portal, and you'll just kind of see those teams that assemble, which is why it's so incredibly important that that I think there'll be more and more general managers. Like I'm waiting for Kansas to say they had a higher general manager.
I think you've got to. I think you're gonna have to do that
today. Max Crosby just signed as assistant general manager, the first active player to be.
I saw that for Eastern Michigan. I saw that.
So I think it's a great opportunity to give these guys a little bit of money to see if they can make the university a lot of money and then in return make a lot of money from it. Right. But if it's your university you love playing for and it's something that you can go and tell kids about, you can put some money into the program. It's a pretty cool thing. And if it's something that you like after your career's over that you get into.
Yeah,
that you get into. And I love that fact that Crosby's the only active player. But you see guys in the NBA now kind of getting into that role and guys, NFL, getting into the role but not active,
right.
And obviously he's not going to be feet on the ground. He's busy now with recruiting shit. But you get a call if you're in the state of, you're in the state of,
I think it's a super cool idea. I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute for the fact that he's going to be in his NFL season and training camp and all the stuff in July and all that, and then the season as long as it is. So I don't know how much he's going to be able to contribute.
But I mean, if you're a kid that's contemplating it and you get a FaceTime call from Max Crosby and he's so swaggy and cool and dope, it's like you're going to listen. You're not going to be like, oh, no,
for sure.
I mean, he's not a guy. He's not, in your parents' living room sitting like we're sitting, like this is what the university can do for you.
Right? Yeah.
It's just he's a guy that has a lot of swag and a lot of personality. And like me, he's like, I came from there. Look what I've done. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but that's a pretty cool thing.
And going back and touching on the KU Duke thing for a minute, because like I said, they're a good friend of mine who's a huge Duke fan. But by no means am I giving like Kansas a pass because we know.
But we won 4 years ago.
No, I know. But,
so it was like it wasn't like we've won before.
No, but what I'm saying is with as many number ones as we've had, we for sure should have more national titles. I mean, I think as Kansas fans, we all feel that way.
Number ones? What do you mean?
But being like number one overall, number one in the seeds, like in the tournament, where we haven't panned out, been to a Final Four, and won the national title. I mean, you and I have talked. We feel like
Theo, what'd you have to say? I saw Theo making. What do you?
In my 5 years of college, we didn't have one.
One Final Four?
No, we didn't have one top 5 player in the country.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely.
True, but my thing is, I feel as a diehard Kansas fan, lifelong Kansas fan, I feel like Roy should have gotten at least one, and I feel like Coach Self should have. I mean, one or two more, and we might have had one the COVID year. That year with you joking that team.
Yeah, we would have.
Oh,
that was,
man.
But but this is great because once again, you kids were young. But in '97,
we're such boomers. We taught these guys.
Speak for yourself, man. I ain't no boomer.
You're a boomer, dude.
So, but that team in '97, it was in Birmingham, Alabama, and I'll never forget Birmingham, Alabama, and Arizona.
You guys were born in '97, were you?
I wasn't even a thought in '97.
God, that's
Neither
fucking crazy.
You guys were born in '97.
So let me tell you this.
Arizona.
I went to the game.
We were the 1 seed.
Birmingham, yes. I went to Birmingham, Alabama. My girl I was dating was at KU at the time. Went to the game, and so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, kind of just in warm-ups. It's kind of a feel to it. And we had Pierce. We had
Pollard,
we had a loaded squad.
Jared Haas.
We had a loaded squad.
We were like 32-1.
And so the ball tips off, and I'm like, wow. I mean, because I wasn't a Pac-10 guy, so I didn't watch Arizona a lot. But Bibby, Miles Simon, Dickerson, Jason Terry, AJ Bramlett. They had guys.
Had that swag,
you had those guys in the NBA
though.
And so I'm sitting there and I look over and I'm like, we're not winning this. The girls at the team, it's like, stop saying that. She's almost crying. I'm like, Bibby hit a 3-pointer where he fell into the bench. And I'm telling you, the net didn't move. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, we're not winning this.
Those guys were coming down to playing a 3 and a 4 guard set, and the ball was
But look
moving
at
so
those
quick.
guys.
The ball was moving so quick, and then all of a sudden they'd swing it across the entire floor, and then someone drain a 3. And it was like every time they would score and they'd go up 6, 8, 9 points, you could just feel our guys getting tighter and tighter because we were the number 1 overall
But I
seed.
mean, look at that roster though. Bibby, NBA,
Yeah.
long career.
Yeah, but they won the national championship.
Yeah, they won the national championship. They went on to win the national
Were
championship.
they an 8 seed?
No, I think there were 5 or 6.
No, they were a 4. They beat us in the Sweet 16. They were a 4 seed.
Yeah.
It was 1 against 4.
And but I mean, Dickerson played in the NBA. Played for Vancouver at the time.
Terry played.
Terry played for
Miles
years.
Simon.
And Miles Simon played for I want to say Orlando.
Yeah.
But they play. I mean, all those. That was a. And dude, you had guys coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Like, Dickerson came off the bench. Terry came off the bench because they started Simon and Bibby in the backcourt. But I'll never forget, once again, in that year, because that was the year we were supposed to go, is Jason Terry jumping on the scorer's table, and he had those high socks on that
socks
said
all the way
cats.
to his knees. Yeah.
That cats that went down the side of it. But yeah, that was, I mean, Roy should
What was
have.
the score of that game in 97, Theo?
97, Arizona beat us 85-82
Woo.
in the regional semis.
I don't remember it being that.
That was
close.
Paul Pierce. I mean, dude, that was, I mean,
Yeah, we had Pierce, the Friends, Pollard, Vaughn, and Haas. Those were our starters.
yeah. I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. But yes, so that was the year that I thought we should have. I mean, that was like we were loaded. They really were. I mean, and then obviously, like we talked about the COVID year. I mean, they still talk about it, and you'll get anyone but Kansas fans like, no, bullshit, you wouldn't have. But that team was so incredibly loaded.
So good.
I mean, Dotson and then
Marcus Garrett was the best defensive player in the country.
yes, he was amazing.
Oach was a sophomore. CB was a sophomore. Or no, CB was a freshman.
Was Mason or Graham either there?
No, neither of them.
Both of them were gone?
Both of them are gone. Graham was my senior year of high school.
And so it was Dotson the point. and then-
Dotson, Doak. We had who was it?
Doak was. I mean,
Yes,
that
I remember. Will you pull that season up, Theo? During
Yeah.
that season, Baylor came into Kansas in January and beat us. But maybe look at that score because I want to say they beat us by 10.
We were 28-3. It was
God.
Dotson, Doak, Ochai, Marcus Garrett, McCormick, Isaiah Moss, the senior transfer from Iowa. That
Who was it?
Isaiah Moss.
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
lethal
Right.
three-point
Three-point
shooter. Tristan Enaruna.
yeah.
Yep. But
Yeah, they were good.
so going and look at that. So Baylor came into Lawrence in January, didn't they? They came and beat us in January in Lawrence.
Yep.
Baylor did.
67-55.
So I kept thinking it was like 10, 12 points. So they beat us, and then the last game of the year, we were in Waco, and we beat them. And when we beat them in Waco, that place was jumping. And I told Jamie, when they came out of the game, I go, dude, don't win the national title. Because Dotson and Doak,
We won 16 straight games after that loss to Baylor.
there you go.
That got us to 12-3, and we ended the year 28-3.
Yeah, that's
There you
amazing.
go.
That's amazing. And so yeah, we had you would but like all school. I mean, yeah, you would have. But yeah, when you look back at Kentucky and the guys, a good friend of ours, Patrick, was like, Calipari gets these guys ready for the NBA, which he really does. He gets a lot of guys, and but they've done that. And that's where some kids. It's different now, I think, with NIL.
Right.
It's different now with NIL because it, as opposed to like, I don't think these kids will ever care as much about winning championships as they will about what their money they're going to get up front.
And so let's stay with that for a minute. Theo, what's the kid's name? The quarterback from the quarterback that just went through the controvery. That was,
Tennessee. He won it.
Tennessee's quarterback.
Nico, I'm going to butcher the last name. Iamavala?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
He got $2 million. He wanted $4 million, and it's like,
but
And he wasn't showing up to practice.
No.
He wasn't doing it. He wasn't showing up to team meetings. He stopped showing up to things.
But I think the way Josh Heupel handled that was right on, was spot on. That's one of those deals of, hey, you don't want to be here. You're out shopping your services. You're a free agent. You're wanting to go get more money somewhere else, and this is what you're doing. Bye. I don't need you, man. And I don't know if I'm another team. I don't know if that's the guy I want on my team. I don't know if that's the guy I want running my team.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're in college, you don't know what your NFL career or if you have an NFL career is. I go and get to solidify my situation, my family situation. I go out to the highest bidder, 100%, and that's why we didn't talk. We're talking about college right now, obviously basketball, but the Flory thing. I said as soon as one, I was like, if you're Flory, you're gonna absolutely say, I'm going to the portal. If he wanted to leave or not, but his handlers, his people say, hey, you're not getting enough money right now. There's a lot of money coming free with Hunter leaving and with these guys leaving.
So yeah, let's just cut to the chase. Let's just even cut the handlers out. It's the fucking agents. These guys already have agents because they can, and they're already making these deals and doing this stuff. But I think this is why you got to get out of this wild, wild west bullshit, and you've got to put some type of parameters. I'm all for the players being paid. I'm all for it. But you got to put some parameters on it and some time frames, because you know what? If you're a player and you want to go out and you want to, they should have a free agent period where you can enter the portal, and if you're going to go get more money, so teams know what's going on, but make that period, show what that period's going to be. So it's not just some guy going behind his back and going, I'm not going to show up to practice, I'm going to do this, because then it just doesn't, I don't know.
But unfortunately, that's the era, and that's how we that's the nature, and that's the,
because there's no parameters on it.
But who's going to put parameters on it though? The NCAA, they're
okay. The NCAA is a joke, but somebody they've got to do something. They can't just let this be just a wild, wild west where I'm sitting on the bench. I'm sitting on the bench and dude's running down the court. And he's like, "Hey, you want to play with us next year?" And yeah,
Chester McLaughlin.
Yeah, I mean, Chester McLaughlin.
When he walked over to Marty mid game.
Come get me. Come get me.
How does that feel? It comes over. It's like it's like a TV timeout. He walks over.
That's what we should ask Grunhard about, because Grunhard said that was the hardest dude he ever had to block was McLaughlin.
And it was like, I don't know how that.
Dude, you got to put. There's got to be parameters. They got to put something.
There will. I don't know if they're. I mean, I don't know how. I think it's going to continue with this way for a little while. But I think that's why guys, once again, like Saban got out of it. It's a perfect example why he left. And guys,
I think that's why Roy Williams, Coach Krzyzewski, Jay Wright.
Yeah, Jay Wright.
I mean, I think that's why all those guys got out of it.
It's like it just becomes it's a lot more taxing, and I can't even imagine what that means. But it's also you kind of have to evolve. Like, if this is the way it's going to go, you have to evolve. And that's why I think that you have to, because essentially it's like it's free agency, and you got to pitch free agency and how much money you're willing to spend.
Right.
It's like, you have to have a budget. Like if you have $40 million to spend, $30 million to spend. It's kind of, okay, how am I going to allocate that? Like, am I going to go after, do I want to put it, into a front court, back court?
Like you said, you need a general manager now.
And then you have to have a coach. And once again, you can say it's not being done because all these teams are doing it. The stud at Florida, he was at Iona, came in there and he fit. And it's like, you have to find a way to make it fit. And that's the part that's challenging, because you can't say, this is our philosophy, this is what we do. It's like, how do I adapt to make it work with the kids I have in the room?
Right. Do you not think, I think myself, I think the NCAA, before it's all said and done, it's going to be gone. I think you're going to have 4 or 5 major conferences with 20, 22 teams in them, and they're going to kind of govern themselves. That's what I think we're heading to.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I think we're heading towards, they're going to do away with the NCAA. You're going to have 5 power conferences, 20, 22 teams, and they're gonna govern themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's eventually where we're heading to. Because the NCAA, once they started doing the NIL, they lost all.
And they were headed that way. They were headed that way. But yeah. But anyway, awesome Final Four. Can't wait. Let's end it. Let's touch a little bit about baseball and the Royals, where we're at. What's the score right now, Theo?
4-1 Yankees.
Lugo leaking oil.
All right, so let's get away from that for a second. Knowing we're down 4-1, let's talk a little Masters, man. We got to talk a little Masters.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch the final round yesterday?
I was, as much as I could. I had the girls yesterday, so as much as I could, and I was listening. So I was listening, and I was like, and I was getting texts, like, I have a lot of homies that are all in there. Are you watching this shit? And I was like, no, but I was like, I would watch on it, like, turn my phone on, like, watch. And it was epic. It was epic, and it was cool. Rory won. I'm glad he did.
But see, here's my. So I was sick. I started feeling crappy Thursday. So lucky and blessed that Friday, Saturday, Sunday I kind of got to take off. So of course, Jessica's like, yeah, how convenient. You're sick. You can't do anything all weekend, and the Masters is on. So I was locked in the man cave. Watched the whole round Friday. Watched all of it Saturday, all day yesterday. But here's where I don't think, to me, it's as epic as some of the Masters we've seen. there was a lot of dudes that missed a lot of putts yesterday. Like just
those things are glass.
No,
I mean,
I know, but I mean, some of the ones you've seen, like that have been epic to me, epic masters, are when you got Tiger and somebody, and it's neck and neck, and it's back and forth, back and forth. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau yesterday, he really struggled. And when it wasn't his drives. Dude, they were monster drives. Every drive was 340,
but
345.
that's the pressure.
And his irons, and he came out and said, he's like, my iron, like
dude, he was hitting balls till 8:30 on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how lack of confidence he
It
had.
leaked that Saturday night after he was done hitting balls at the range at 8:30. He was walking up and down the street, wandered into somebody's backyard because he heard they were having people back there. Walked back, was like, "Hey, can I putt with you guys?" Because they had a putting green.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm Bryson DeChambeau," and the guy was like,
No.
He's like, "Yeah, and I'm Jack Nicklaus." And then he walked into the light. They're like, "Oh my God, you're actually Bryson DeChambeau."
No.
And he just putted with them for 2 hours.
Yeah,
the night before
I saw
that's
that
awesome.
story.
Sunday
That's
of
awesome.
a major.
And since he, whoever his public relations team he was the most like disliked golfer, and he's kind of changed his perception. People start to have liked him a little more. His answer to me, or his answer to the question, if it was the old Bryce when he's like, hey, he didn't talk to me. He didn't say a word, didn't talk to me. It's like, that was kind of Bush League and kind of like Rory's trying to lock in. And if Tiger, he didn't talk to anyone. I mean, you're locked in trying to get a jacket. You're not trying to say, I read this. It's all about locking in. So I think he was frustrated with himself. But I just thought how it went where Rory, what is it, first hole?
First hole, he double bogeyed.
Yeah.
He
And it's
double
like,
bogeyed,
oh
hole one out of
shit,
shoot yesterday.
here we go. Here we go. And then, he had to make some incredible, golf shots.
What was crazy was he had this one was on 15. He hit his first shot, decent drive, but for a second shot, he had, and it was so funny because Jessica's downstairs watching with me, and the lady talking on the golf channel, she said he's gonna have to go with this. He's gonna have to pull. He's gonna have to hit it out to the right, and he's gonna have to hook it back over the water onto the green. And I told Jessica, I know how to make that hit. And she's literally thinking I'm gonna show like on my hands of my golf swing. And I go, no, on Golden Tee, you pull it back this way and then you hit it down. And she started dying. She goes, you're such an idiot.
Yeah.
She goes, you're literally showing me a Golden Tee, like how you're gonna hit it. And so he hits the shot. It hooks back over the water. Dude, he's where the cord is to the pole for an eagle. And he flipping missed it. It was like, oh my God, how do you hit that shot where you just hook it from 190 yards out and stick it there, and then you miss that? It was like he missed a lot of putts yesterday. They all did.
He had two of those unbelievable shots. He had one on the front nine too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right behind a tree, like 160 out.
Yes. Hit up
Hit
and
it
over.
way over the tree,
Yeah.
landed it like maybe 3 feet from.
Yes.
It rolled to about 4 feet past. He had a 4-footer for birdie, and he missed that one
He
too.
missed it.
Yeah.
And Nance goes, I'm not even sure. Like, he goes, I still can't see where the break was in the trees. He goes, I don't even know how that thing just went straight through there, but obviously he saw a break in there.
Now, so I thought it was great. And as a matter of fact, I went back and rewatched, like the back nine. And I was like, I was wildly entertained. And Nance's call, like always, it was perfection.
Yeah.
And he's like, Rory's got his masterpiece. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
very entertaining and awesome. I just, when I think of like epic ones, I think of guys that like, this guy makes a long putt. Then this other guy comes, he makes a long putt. Now you're back and forth one. But DeChambeau kind of melted and kind of fell back.
Gave Justin, opened it up for Justin.
Man, but that guy, what's that guy he played against?
Who got second?
Yeah.
Justin Rose.
Justin Rose. But dude, he was like 500 at the beginning of the day yesterday. Yeah. And came back to he have 7, 8, 9 birdies?
He
yesterday?
had 7 birdies.
I thought he had 7 birdies
That's
to catch
cooking.
on fire. When he took the lead there at the end, I just thought, and then they were talking about how Rory had his therapist. I guess his therapist was there all week with them, and really kind of talking about the whole mental part of the game. And I just thought when he bogeyed 18, and then Rose birdied it, I thought, shit, he's gonna melt. There's no way he's gonna hit this next.
It was kind of fit. I mean, it's kind of fitting for Rory to win that like that.
It was. It was.
And you know what?
He choked it away and then came back.
It's kind of fitting to that. It's if behind closed doors, he's like, I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
Right.
That's just kind of, it's a testament to who he is. And then, and it's one of those things, as well as he's been playing, he can go on a Scotty Scheffler type of run. I mean, he's the favorite for the next major. Yeah. And even though he's older, he can go on one of those runs where he wins a tournament or two. I don't know if it's a major, but he can get on one of those runs and like.
I think getting that monkey off your back, so now you can kind of. Yeah. I mean, they were talking today. I was listening on the Golf Channel, and they were talking. Do you think now that he's got that monkey off his back, do you think he goes and wins the Masters like maybe 1 or 2 more times?
No, I don't think that's.
I don't think that course just suits him well.
Yeah.
If he can get off the tee like he was this weekend, it'll be fine. But
I think there's another major
on the front nine. He couldn't hit a drive in the fairway to save his life.
No, man, everything was off.
So I think he'll get another. Major. I think that 10-year drought will end.
Yeah, I do too.
It's over now, but I think he'll get another one. I mean, he's a Grand Slam winner now. He's able to get that. He got, like you guys said, he got the monkey off his back. He'll get up to 6.
One of only 6 guys to ever do it.
Yeah.
I mean, who was it on ESPN? Scott Van Pelt. He's like,
that's my guy, Van Pelt.
He goes, when you start talking about guys, you're bringing up pictures of other guys that have done it. And he goes, and you've got black and white photos. You know you've done something. Like 2 of the guys in there, they're black and white photos. Yeah. There's a turn. I mean, it was crazy to see, but man, hats off and kudos, man.
Yeah.
To Roy McIlroy.
Absolutely, that was awesome.
For winning the Masters. It was a blast.
So a couple things. So before we get out here, speaking of iconic, because Nance's call was iconic. The other night I was working, and I see this gentleman walk in.
Okay.
And it's super busy. It's like probably a 2-hour wait. And so I see this gentleman walk in, and my stepdaughter's working she's hostessing.
Yep.
And I see the gentleman and his wife kind of look around. There's not a seat to be had. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Kevin fucking Harlan. So I'm like, I walk up to him. I go, Mr. Harlan, you don't have to wait for a table at all. And you hear his voice, and his voice takes me, obviously TNT, and he's one of the most iconic all-time goat of goats. He's on Mount Rushmore of announcers.
For sure.
And he's like, no way. And he's just in his voice. And I'm like, absolutely, come out here. So I sit him down, and he is like giving me compliments like I am in the tone and the excitement that I just made a big play in like on Thursday night in TNT.
Did he hit you with a bang?
No, no, but it was close. His excitement level. I was like, it was so good. Or right between the eyes, none of that. But it was so good, man. So I was like, hey, I sent him out a few items, and he was like, hey, pull up a seat and talk. So I got to talk to him. He's so cool. I kind of taught him about dad's experience, mom and dad's experience for Chiefs. And, it was awesome. And so there's a good chance he's going to come on. So
I was going to say, the question is, so did you ask him to come on the podcast?
Yes, I did. And he was like, before he could even respond, his wife was like, absolutely, he'll come on. He'll absolutely come on. Give me your information. Give me your,
Kevin
so
Harlan, like, we would absolutely love and be honored if Kevin Harlan
came on
our podcast.
Yeah.
To hear that voice on our podcast,
and his roots to Kansas City, and I told him, I think it's so incredibly cool. You're as iconic as you are, and you kept your roots here. And he's like, we lived in the same house. He goes, that we raised our kids in, and he goes, now our grandkids are coming over in the same house that they, which is so cool. And like I said, for him, he's so iconic. He's so great. He is, NFL, TNT, and oh baby, what a play.
Yeah.
Was the most iconic, Chief. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
And and we talked about the podcast for a minute. I go, Grunhard and Moss were on, and both him and his wife start laughing hysterically. And they're like, oh my God, I bet that was fun. And I was like, tell him about the story, And I was like, and he goes, it was Willie Davis. And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. So he remembers those plays. So hopefully, but next week we got Hootie Girl on.
Yeah, Coach Andrew Hootie, man, strength and conditioning coach.
Hootie Girl.
For the UConn Women's National Championship basketball team.
Yeah.
We've known her and had a relationship with her back in her Lawrence days at KU.
Yep.
She is a true icon and the strength and conditioning
legend
in her world, and she is a legend with many national titles attached to her name and program. Hopefully we get Kevin Harlan on. We're reaching out to some other people. So we got some awesome guests. You guys, again, go follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Where else we at, guys? Subscribe, YouTube channel. Go and subscribe, like and subscribe, and go to loveyoubro.shop, and go check out our merch. It dropped this week, so get you some Love You Bro merch, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Go Lakers.
Out.